Yo, it's Sway.
Sway.
Sway. Sway.
Sway. Sway.
Sway.
In the morning.
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 Only on Shade 45.
Wake your fuck ass up.
Yeah. Bitches.
I want to ask you, I know Dr. Cornel West, Tavis Smiley, a lot of different individuals, especially in the African-American community, have spoke out. They've had issues with President Obama. How do you feel about his performance?
Well, let me break that down. First of all, I believe that you can offer a critique of the president's job, and it is not a personal attack.
Yes.
And what happens is there are individuals who I believe make personal attacks versus proper critiques, but I also believe that the White House can't perceive every criticism as simply being a personal attack.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. And when I had Dr. West on Washington Watch, I said to him, I said, I believe the mistake that you made was when you brought up the inauguration tickets and your mom and stuff along those lines. That made it seem like your critique was a personal one, as opposed to being on the issues. But let me also say this here. The day before the inauguration in 2009, I moderated an event at Howard University sponsored by Spike Lee's ad agency in partnership with Pepsi. And on my panel, had about 1,500, 2,000 people there. But on the panel was Dr. West, Reverend Jackson, Reverend Sharpton, Donna Brazile, Tara Wall. I think Amy Holmes was on the panel. And Dr. West said the day before the inauguration, January 19th, 2009, he said, I support this brother. I campaign for him. We're going to have his back. But we're also going to put pressure on him to be sure that he does what he said he was going to do. He said there's a difference between a thermostat and a thermometer. That was the example that he used. When he was on the show, I played the soundbite. And I tried to explain to people. So this is not as if Dr. West did not say he was going to do what he's actually doing right now. He said it. Now, folks were cool with it until it actually happened. I also believe that as African Americans, folks got to remember two things. First, he is the first black president, but he's also the 44th president. And that is, there's a return on investment when it comes to your vote. And that is when you vote 96% for him in 2008, 93% in 2012, you should expect a return on investment. Hispanics voted in the last election around 71, 73%. Oh, there's an expectation in terms of their agenda. Gays and lesbians voted about 70, 75%. There's an expectation on the agenda. So it's amazing to me that somehow everybody else gets to have an expectation, have an agenda, get to make demands, but somehow black folks can't. Okay, that is problematic to me.
So how would you rate his performance? Like for you,
I would have to break it down on different issues. I would say overall, I would call it a B minus at its worst, C plus. And here's why. We can talk about health care. We can talk about that particular issue. Absolutely important. You could talk about ending the war in Iraq. You talk about what's happening in Afghanistan. Critically important. Then when you begin to talk about in terms of various bailouts and trying to right the system, auto company wise, smart moves. But one of the critical issues that I have a problem with, and I've been critical about this, is in the housing area. I think the housing policies that they put forth have been failures. They said they were going to somehow help more than 4 million Americans. Hasn't even gotten close to that number, not even 25%. Why does that matter to me? 53% of black wealth was lost due to the home foreclosure crisis. Now, I'm not blaming him for the loss, but what I'm saying is, as someone who had an opportunity to put forth some strong housing initiatives that would have helped folks, didn't happen. Every time Secretary Sean Donovan, Secretary of HUD came on my show, I was going, what, a new housing plan? When you keep coming with a new housing plan, what it means the last one didn't work. And so that's one of the critical areas. Also, I believe this president has not spoken out enough in terms of the issue of youth violence and gun violence. He's speaking today in Chicago. And so my point is not I'm holding you accountable, but I do believe you can use the bully pulpit to be able to speak to a broader issue, what's happening when it comes to gun violence. His speech today was initially billed as a speech dealing with gun violence. When I got the advisory yesterday from the White House, it says he's going to be talking about the middle class. And I'm going, that's not what we were all told.
Yeah.
And they said, well, he will discuss his anti-poverty initiative and also talk about guns, as opposed to, no, make that the actual focus.
Hey, Sway.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're here. We're listening to Roland and just really, really captivated by the things that he's saying and his knowledge of President Obama in the White House. Roland, can you tell us what happened to our 2% in our paychecks?
Well, actually, first of all, what happened with the payroll tax? To help people during the last 4 years, what they did was they rolled back the payroll tax to give folks some extra income in their checks. But remember, when that happens, that's less revenue the government actually gets. And so basically, it was a payroll tax holiday, if you will.
Okay.
Because we were going through tough times. Hey, give folks a little extra in their paychecks. But the problem was, if you kept continuing that tax, that also meant the deficit was going up. And so basically, imagine, remember that scene in Malcolm X when my man gave him the nutmeg, he was trying to wean him off the drugs.
The shower scene.
Precisely.
Right.
This is an example trying to wean you off of all the good stuff you got the last several years. And so,
there you go.
So you roll that, say, look, we got to take that back. So that's why all of a sudden the payroll tax went up at 2%. And then also, then the same thing when you'll begin to see it with unemployment benefits, because you just can't keep extending, because every time you do, it's costing more money.
Roland Martin, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Roland, if people want to reach you on Twitter, how can they reach you?
Real simple. It's Roland S. Martin, by my Twitter handle. You can hit me up. Of course, my site is rolandsmartin.com. And so my email's on there. That's my email. And so I reply to folks. And let me be clear. If you act a fool with me in an email on Twitter, I will jack you up.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.